Ma'am, this whole thing is a takeover.
A takeover?
Yes, it's not a strike. You're being let in. You aren't being let in because there's nothing to negotiate. The union is taking the terminal. He has told me so in his own words. He's taking it. He'll also use the drug trade to finance the harbor. I'll go with the second one here.
Taking it?
She looks toward the colorful mountain of crates, like toy blocks rising over Martinez.
Green livery, changing into red, blot by blot.
Then we're talking about a war. Evrart needs to let me into the harbor at once. We need to talk about this.
He's ready for a war. They all are.
They most certainly are not. Crenell has 1,000 men on their payroll. The next batch will be a platoon of 20 men and a gunship.
I've seen the Union's forces. They are better organized than these mercenaries. They also have the support of the people of Revachol West. It will take more than Crenell to wipe them out. Wild Pines will need to send more and better equipped men. Make no mistake, ma'am. I am sure you have the money. The question is, how many years and how many lives are you willing to sacrifice?
What do you suggest I do?
First, will this affect your decision-making process? It's not the RCM's job to make these decisions. The workers should have the harbor. Cut off the snake's head. Everard's pushing all this. It's a bluff. Call it. Have them open fire and see how long they last. Bring in everything you have and wipe them from the face of the earth. Look at your wrist. It's Apocalypse O'Clock. Time to commence the gloaming. I wish there was a disco option. Jesus. I guess we're gonna have to go with option 6 because that's just horrible.
Such a thing isn't in my character.
So what are you going to do?
What will I do?
She says, slowly looking around.
Did I ever tell you how they discovered this Isola? During our reality lowdown?
You said you would one day.
It may be the only break we've ever caught as a species. The last one for 400 years.
Why?
The nations who colonized this Isola called theirs Muindi, the world. It was all they knew, all they thought would be. That there would be something more was a gamble, akin to another world, or life after death. The Pale was thought to be impregnable, perpetual. Irene la Navigateur, the Queen of Suren, sent 8 expeditions, one after the other, into the mass at the edge of the world. 5 of the crews did not return. 2 did, but had lost their minds.
8? Is that a normal number?
It was anything but normal. There was no precedent. People thought she was punishing the admirals, or had gone mad, or both. Until after years of trial and error, and the development of a strict psychological regime imitating the creation process of poetry. The 8th expedition returned sane and intact. They told of a new continent of matter. They told the Queen and her counselor, Dolores Day, that the Pale had begun to condense, day after day, hour after hour, minute after minute, slowly raining down until it formed a vast ocean.
The air is cold and scented with petrichor. There are rain circles on water all around. Humidity crawls up your back like a piano trill.
Put your hand in the rain.
So does the lieutenant. His mouth is slightly open as he looks to the sky. The droplets feel warm, like spring rain.
This ocean?
The phenomenon has never again been encountered. For a time, the crew thought they were experiencing a hallucination. The mass hand proclaimed, "L'insulinde, l'insulinde," the signal to wake up. But they could not. They were sane and conscious, as islands began to appear on the horizon. There are 78,000 uninhabited islands in the Insulindian archipelago, officer. The freckled face of God.
She smiles.
Après la vie, la mort. Après la mort, la vie encore. Après la mort, le gris. Après le gris, le monde encore.
After life, death. After death, life again. After the Isola, the Pale. After the Pale, Isola again.
Okay.
On the second day, a great skua was shot down above the flagship Lizargique. The bird was preserved and brought back, along with pollen.
She looks to the sky, then back at you.
4 years later, the Queen's Counsellor was proclaimed Her Innocence Dolores Day, the elected world spirit. The age of humanism, internationalism, and parliamentary rule followed. We were high.
Leaving us here. The Great Skua was the first bird they saw, and this was the last break we got. It's raining. What will you do? Leaving us here?
On Caillou. The Pebble. The largest of the fertile, uninhabited islands of the northeast Insulindian archipelago. 4 centuries and 2 revolutions later.
The Great Skua was the first bird they saw?
The first living, autonomous organism. Proof of reality. It's the symbol of Insulinde, detective. The coat of arms of the suzerain and the wings on the crest of the commune.
I seem to have it in for it, or it for me. I broke one.
In your defense, it is a nasty creature who plucks food from the throats of lesser birds. Yet much like Revachol, it is also magnificent and rare. Imagine the suzerain of seagulls.
And this was the last break we got?
The nations of Mundi proceeded to discover 5 more Isolae. Or they discovered us. All in the rush of the great inter-Islary reconnection.
Okay, so, what was it? Katla, Samara, Seol, Ilmara, and Grad, I think, are the other 5. Right? Did I get that right? I hope I did.
But these others weren't uninhabited. We had to kill people there. Wipe out indigenous populations. Gunboat economies. Or they came to do the same for us. Or had done to each other. But here,
Had to, sure. She spreads her arms.
there was no one but the Skua, the Liliat Saya, and the Blood Beach, and the River Esperance. It was the new world. The Mondials used it to amass the greatest concentration of wealth mankind has ever seen. Revachol, the suzerain.
Well done, suzerain.
But what was done exactly? Revolution, the rise and crash of capital, international intervention.
It's raining.
It is. Soon it will be spring and everything will blossom.
The gangs will run wild, jacking motor carriages, ferrying amphetamines through Coal City. Spring is tough in Revachol.
What will you do?
I will surrender Terminal B to the Union.
Is that within your means?
She puts her hand in the rain. She's silent for a second.
We will see.
Ma'am, this may well unravel property law this side of the river. If that occurs, we may never see the end of this kind of confrontation. The next time there will be 2 strikes, then 4, then 100.
What happens will happen.
She takes the end in her rain-slick hand and starts untying the knot.
The age of capital has only begun. I will talk to my employers in person. We will amputate and cauterize Martinez. If you handle the situation on the ground.
We? She generally avoids that term with her employers.
There are no employers. She's a member of the board. Probably a partner.
You are the Wild Pines. There are no employers.
You are the citizens' militia. There are no superiors.
She turns to you, rope in hand. What? Of course I have superiors.
That's right, detective. And next time, you should confer with them before you go setting events in motion.
Despite his words, he's not really sure whether to be annoyed with you or not.
Even after all this time, I still don't really understand who you are or what your angle is. I answer for my own actions. I don't hide behind some faceless organizations. I'll go with the first one.
I have not deceived you. I showed you who I was. Rejoice Layton.
You're going now?
Yes, Mr. Clare has a 2-month head start. I can't let it grow any bigger. And I've exhausted all my options from here.
Okay, understood.
Keep the peace, and I will keep my end of the bargain.
How far along is Cronell's investigation?
A confrontation is imminent. They have followed in your footsteps. As your investigation reaches a climax, so does theirs. They are your shadow. Arm yourselves. Armor yourselves.
Okay.
Protect their targets. Violence may be unavoidable, but we can limit the casualties.
When will they make their move? Where?
Soon. I do not know precisely. They have cut off all communication, you see. They know I've been feeding you information. One last thing, Lieutenant Dubois. I've given the matter much thought and come to this conclusion. You're not an amnesiac. You're insane. I know, because I, too, am insane. I just hide my illness better. And I'm rich.
Isn't everybody a little insane? You're over-radiated. How do you keep it together? Goodbye, Joyce L. Messier. Goodbye, Rejoice Layton. Goodbye, Nether Creature of the Forbidden Swamp. Isn't everybody a little insane?
No, Detective. No one's as insane as you.
Don't worry, madame. I am very sane.
You are, Kim, you are. You're over-radiated?
I'm overexposed, baby. My travels take me through the Pale dozens of times a year. I've got the longing. And I've got it bad.
She points to her heart.
She would die to return to it. The Pale, the past, anything one can return to.
I guess we can kind of relate to that. How do you keep it together?
The same strict psychological regimen the 8th Admiral developed when he crossed the Pale and discovered this Isola. The Volta Domar. It's used by inter-Islary travelers and other troubled souls, even to this day.
The jacket Kim has in the merch store, I don't know if it's official or unofficial, the jacket gives him a +1 to Volta Domar, which seems to be one of his stats.
You could use a little of it yourself.
Goodbye, Nether Creature of the Forbidden Swamp.
Watch out for yourselves. They will strike soon.
Okay.
The lieutenant watches her boat grow smaller on the bay, its white sails fluttering. With worry in his eyes, he does not know if it was the right thing to do, but he doesn't say anything. Slowly, the sails turn grey-blue as more oxygen gets between you.
Alright, let's take a look at the thought, the Insulindian miracle. You were reminded of a poem somewhere deep inside you, the translation of which you don't remember. Okay, Italian. Don't speak Italian, but I can try. Nulla sarà cambiato della luce. It begins. Colori come grigio e marrone, tutti stampati uno sull'altro. Trovai un vuoto, una macchia bianca. Gli altri guardarono, che bella giornata, che bel tempo. Me senti la rotativa. You were reminded of it when you heard about the discovery of Insulinde. But what does it mean and how do you know it by heart? I know that those are the lyrics to a song that actually exists. I forgot the name of the second guy involved. It's like a song by I think Blixer Bargeld is his name. He's from Einstürzende Neubauten and an Italian singer. I haven't listened to the song, but maybe I should at some point. Wait, I'm actually gonna look up what it's called. 1 second. Okay, the song is called What If, and the other guy is Tejo Teardo. Never heard of him, to be honest, except for like reading his name in this context. But yeah, that's what the song is called. I haven't listened to it yet, but yeah, I might check it out after this recording. Okay, ask about Ruby. Tell me where the shot came from. There isn't much left to do. Right, let's ask her about Ruby, if she...
Aye, the sea's gonna calm
anything
down
to
soon,
say.
I can feel it. The wind is turning southeast. What's on your mind, officer?
Why does she care about the waves so much?
What is it with you and those waves?
What is it with waves and fishermen? We need to be out there with them, fishing, making a living. So I asked them to accommodate me.
Okay, makes
But
sense.
until that happens, I can try to assist you the best I can. So, what will it be, officer?
I'm looking for someone else, actually.
Oh? Who?
I'm looking for a suspect who might have stayed in this neighborhood.
Okay. When did this person stay here?
Very recently, over the past few days, she might have arrived on Friday.
Oh. I've been out on the sea for most of the past week. The weather's been good for fishing, so I usually start at 4 in the morning.
Really?
Yes, that's the optimal time. Got to make the most of the calm. I've been sleeping like a corpse after. The sea really takes its toll. Now I'm just waiting for the wind to settle to get out there again. Sorry I couldn't help you out. Maybe I can help you find someone else.
That's it. I'm not looking for anyone else right now.
Well, how can I assist you then, officer?
Okay, let's get going. Let's go into our shack and find a clue that Ruby was there. There it is. Shivers told us to look under the floorboards, and now we actually can.
As you look at the floorboards in this corner of the shack, it's clear one of them isn't quite level with the others. The edge of a floorboard next to it looks scratched.
Move the board aside.
Hollow space underneath the floorboards is dark and damp. You can barely make out the mixture of sand and sawdust below.
What's in here?
Nothing particular catches your eye. Looks like more reeds. There might be something hidden inside the sand, though. Something bad. Someone's night thoughts. A last resort. A bad idea.
Search through the sand and sawdust.
You stick your hand in and start combing through the sand. Dry, not like outside. Fine dust. And then, something hard wrapped in paper.
What is it?
A small cylindrical object. You pull it out. A bullet.
A bullet. Interesting.
The floorboard doesn't care. But maybe the washerwoman does. You have enough to confront her with. It's extra ammunition. She's locked and loaded, ready to fight some cops.
Okay.
Holding the bullet, you get the feeling this isn't ammunition against you. It's for herself.
I guess we can relate to that as well. So, let's talk to the washerwoman.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with?
Why was there a bullet under the floorboards of your shack?
Damn that girl.
She murmurs softly.
A bullet?
The lieutenant turns to you and gives you a little nod, then turns to the washerwoman.
You didn't put it there, did you? She did.
Gone and hid things in there? She's usually a good tenant, and not a stupid one either.
You rented the room to her?
Yes, I let my room to that Ruby girl.
She speaks slowly, wringing out a rag. After a long silence, her hands move into the water bucket. Some water sloshes over the edge.
As I've done before when she's been in trouble or just looking for solitude. I've made it clear. We welcome all kinds of people here.
When was this?
She came last Friday, left on Monday in a hurry. What has she gotten herself into, that girl?
She seems genuinely worried about her previous tenant. She's seen her hiding out from trouble before. But this seems different.
That's for the police to find out. Right then, please answer each question to the best of your ability. I'm sure we have a few.
You said she left on Monday?
Yes, early with the dogs, around 8 o'clock, I think.
Is the room exactly as she left it?
I cleaned it, like I always do.
Was there anything else there?
No,
What is she like, Ruby?
she's good company. Knows how to talk to an old woman. At my age, you don't get a lot of quality conversation. So I really appreciate that about her.
Did she talk to you much during her last stay?
No, she was mostly silent this time. Kept to herself.
What do you mean?
She tried not to let it show, but I could tell she hadn't come to fish. Usually she likes to cast a few lines, but this time she mostly stayed in her room.
Why do you think she left the bullet there?
How would I know? She's a gruff one, but not violent. She doesn't go around toting a gun.
She looks back towards her shack, thinking.
You could ask her about your hunch, that it was a desperate measure. See if she thinks Ruby fits the bill.
I have a possible explanation in my mind.
Aye. Do tell.
A seagull flies overhead, obviously a bad omen. It's an exit plan.
Exit from what?
The world.
The lieutenant stops writing for a moment. He looks at you, then at the old woman.
No, she's a fighter.
Not a quitter, like you sometimes get, son.
I heard she was a heavy drinker with anger issues. You ever witnessed that kind of behavior?
Nothing of the sort. Sure, she was no stranger to the bottle. She fit in that way. But I only knew her to have a beer on the beach while watching the sunset. She isn't what you'd call a drunk. Even offered me some from time to time. Said it was part of the communal life. But I never saw her lose control of herself, the way some people do.
Did she have any technical equipment with her, like radio stuff?
Not that I know of, though she was into nice music. She once showed me a few mixtape milieu she'd made.
She brushes her forehead with the back of her hand. Water drips to the ground.
Although I guess she was pretty handy with the mechanical and technical stuff. Even fixed the heater in the shack. You should be thankful for that.
She may simply have kept the equipment elsewhere.
Where did she go?
I don't know. Further up the coast. She tried to leave quietly, but the hinges on that door screeched like a cat in heat. Woke me up. I heard her rushing in those heavy boots, heading up north. You'll never find her, you know. She knows the coast like the back of her hand. You only just arrived.
I wouldn't worry about that, ma'am. We are persistent.
Further up the coast we go then. But that place is huge. She's a needle in a haystack. Wipe your brow. Man, I was really hoping she'd be hiding in this village. Are you sure she didn't go somewhere more pleasant and less wet? But this place is huge.
Yes, it's going to be too much work for you to find her. Better for you to stay here. Get a nice cozy fire going in the heater.
The failed electric mural. You feel like you should go look at it again. Step closer this time.
Okay. About the documents you signed, Everett plans to muscle you out with construction noise.
Huh? I like to see him try. If anything, I am gonna muscle him out with construction noise.
Okay. So, are you just gonna get your hands on a jackhammer and make noise all throughout the night?
Get out of here, trying to ruin my day. And that youth center better be a good one, or you'll have trouble from me.
Trouble how?
I wield an army of drunks. Do not underestimate the effect of such a force, if it's pointed to the right direction.
Okay, goodbye, I'm off.
One thing, officer. If you do find her, please go easy on her.
She looks around, the air's getting colder.
She really means it. It's an honest plea.
She's a good girl. Whatever she's gotten herself mixed up in.
Okay, let's take a quick look. Determine where the shot came from. Check the boardwalk, check the island. The boardwalk is where the Feld building is. Ask about Ruby in the village. Ruby left the village and went up to the coast. Okay. Ask Glacier, that's not happening. Bird is not happening. Find armor pieces, that's for later. Spirit is eternal. Hold on to the spirits. Wait for the signal. Find the murder weapon. Send the victim's body to processing. That is everything done. Except for finding Ruby. I think the church is a closer spot to start out from. So let's go. Let's go and see. Over here, I think, is the right place to go. Let's go up here. Do we have anything else to say to you?
Hello again.
Ah, I'm looking for a suspect. Have you seen anyone suspicious around?
No, I'm afraid I can't help you with this one, officer. It's just a regular day off for me and Mikhail here.
He pats his son's head.
So you haven't seen anyone around?
No, I'm sorry. As I said, this is just a day off. We just arrived anyway.
Okay.
There's something friendly and familiar in how he says that. A day off.
Okay, we don't need to hear about the building again. Let's leave. And I guess it's time. Let's look at the Feld building sign.